Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And today we have 4 great decks for you, including Rocket and Groot and our first impressions. We don't have top player first impressions. Again, that will be in tomorrow's video, just like it was last week. I know that's usually a Thursday feature here, but it's going to be Friday for the holiday. I don't want to be messaging a bunch of people on New Year's Day and being like, tell me about the new card. Give people a day to calm down and catch up. So tomorrow I will have top player thoughts for Rocket and Groot. We still have 2 awesome Rocket and Groot decks and so much more. We're going to kick it off with this probably Stefan deck, which is in fact an old Stefan deck that has been brought back by the great Toxic Soul King, and now it's absolutely kicking butt, including stealing an absolute ton of cubes from me. This is a very strong list. This is the best Supergiant list in the game for my money. So if you have Supergiant and you're interested in this list, or you have 3,000 tokens burning a hole in your pocket and you're interested, then this is one list that would be excellent to play. Stefan, and this is again most recently brought back by Toxic Soul King. This deck needs Ajax, Supergiant, Man-Thing, and US Agent. Generally speaking, the Ajax lists need Man-Thing, US Agent, and then one of the big 4s. Sometimes that's Galactus, sometimes that's Wiccan, sometimes that's Malekith. In this case, it is Supergiant. Hydra Bob here can be Iceman. Iceman is very underrated in the meta right now. If you've played any games where Icebox shows up, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Sage can be Juggernaut here. Sage is the 3 you play at the end of the game when you have that extra energy. Juggernaut works the same way. And Red Guardian can be Rogue. It is not as good. Red Guardian gives you an answer to, for example, Doom 2099, where Rogue does not. But Rogue is still very strong into all the Iron Mans and, Madam Webs all over the meta. So this list in the hands of Toxic Soul King is 18-4, which is 82%. It's also got a very high win rate on Infinite Ladder in the top 10% right now. Turn 1, you want Hydra Bob. Turn 2 can be Daredevil over US Agent. Turn 3, Luke Cage is better than Daredevil, is better than either Negasonic or Red Guardian. Turn 4, you want Supergiant. Pretty badly. That's going to let you know what you should be doing on turn 5 with your Daredevil. Like Supergiant and Daredevil give you all the information and power on turn 5. It gives you really, really insane snap power. If you can't get that going, play a Man-Thing in a lane where you think it's going to do the most damage. Turn 5, Ajax or Hazmat Negasonic Red Guardian stuff. If you can hide those, you're in a really, really great position. You can also just hide that you're playing an Ajax just fine, and then you can play all those other cards next turn, because that's sort of what you're deciding, right? You're deciding, do I need to do this stuff on turn 5 hidden so it's going to reveal at the end of the game, and a Hazmat that reveals at the end of the game, especially if you have a Luke out, is insane as far as swing goes. Or am I going to play my Ajax, hide the Ajax, and then utilize my priority to like get a Negasonic off, or my lack of priority to get a Red Guardian off on a key piece. Their information, what they play based on Daredevil, is going to give you the information about what to do in that situation. Cool. Hope that makes sense to everybody. After this, we're going to look at safeties, Lasher and Rocket and Groot. But first, one last look at this beautiful list. Props to Stefan, and I really wish that I wasn't sharing this, because this list absolutely smokes the kind of deck I like to play. It's very strong into the meta right now. Really, really, really good into stuff like Surfer. Really good into stuff like the Kitty and Thena bounce decks and so on. So it's a very, very powerful list that is really meta relevant. If you'd like to keep up with that meta, please hit that sub button, hit that like and comment. It would mean a lot to us as we try to hit 25,000 subs in 2025. We'll give you 7 days a week at least of Marvel Snap videos with at least 3 new decks every single day. And we do more giveaways than anyone. I don't think I changed the giveaway question, so we're just going to keep the same giveaway question as yesterday. It's going to come up later this video. All you do is sub, like, and then answer that question. You are entered to win a copy of Iron Patriot, the new season pass card that will be coming out next week. We're hopeful within the next day or two we will get the season pass video. Who knows? They might not be back in the office until next Monday, right? But we're hopeful that we'll get the new season pass video on 2/3, and Saturday we'll have an extra video for you where we go over basically all the new cards of the new season. I'm trying to hold off making that video as long as possible so that we can get the season video so we can see a little bit of how the new cards work. But if not, I will do my best with the data mines coming up. Next up, we have Safety's Good Symbiote. This is a really, really strong list. I played it on stream. I went 6-4. I should have went 7-3. One of the losses was just me playing things silly. This is a very strong list. It's very consistent. This is the type of list that I'm talking about that I really, really enjoy right now. That's been super effective. It does do a number of really cool things that most of the other lists don't do. Lasher is a giant power swing. It plays almost always as a 2/8 in this deck, and a 2/8 is a ton of power. However, it is worth noting that Luke Cage sort of shuts this deck down. So if your opponents are playing a lot of Luke, you don't really want to play this. Lasher and Rocket and Groot especially is bugged with Luke Cage right now. I'm sure they'll fix it relatively soon, but Rocket and Groot isn't even gaining the power if Luke is in play, and that is a bug. You can find Safety Blade playing this and many other lists. He's one of the best deck builders in the history of the game at twitch.tv/SafetyBlade. He's got numerous signature lists. The one that you are most likely to know is that if you were playing this summer, you know Slayer Blade. That was the Cannonball Professor X thena deck. That was a Safety original. This deck needs Hope Summers, Galacta, and Gwenpool. Those are the 3 cards you need. I will once again take this opportunity to say, hopefully you are a Season Pass buyer. All 3 of those cards are Season Passes, so not only is the Season Pass ridiculous, the best monetary value you can spend in the game by far, it gives you a bunch of cards that are super meta in numerous decks. Agony and Penny here are a combo. If you're missing one, make it Psylocke and Iceman or Bob, and you should be totally fine. Scarlet Spider can be Captain Marvel. I'm less and less sure that Scarlet Spider is better than Captain Marvel at all in these lists. Scarlet Spider is double the power of Captain Marvel, right? But Captain Marvel is power where you need it, and Scarlet Spider often leaves you in awkward situations as far as board space goes. So I'm not 100% sure which I think is better, but yeah, Scarlet Spider is very good in this list at the very least. Captain Marvel is great in this list at the very least. Lasher, if you're missing Lasher, you can run Mr. Sinister. You can run sort of whatever 2-drop you would like to. Thena makes a lot of sense here. Lasher is very good, but not a requirement. He has a lot of stats, but also a reasonable amount of work, and can be awkward because he's a 2-drop that you don't especially want to play on turn 2. Cool. All right, so I went 60% with this one. Turn 1, you want Zabu, which is more or less equal to Agony if you have Penny. It depends on what you have in your hand, which is better than Agony regularly, which is better than Kitty. So if you already have Galacta or Gwenpool, you're going to go Agony into Penny. If both of those are not in hand, you're going to go Zabu. Turn 2, Penny on Agony is better than Angela. Lasher on Agony is fine. It's not your best play, but it's fine. It makes, look, you're getting a 2/8 out of it, and a 2/8 is still a lot of stats. Turn 3, you want Galacta or Gwenpool, which is better than Hope, which is better than Rocket and Groot. Hope is generally better than Rocket and Groot, which really does hurt the card Rocket and Groot. You're very often not going to want to be playing it on 3, and it is a card that is significantly better if you play it on 3. It tends to be a 3/7 to 3/9 in power. Galacta or Gwenpool are better than Hope and a 1 on turn 4. Scarlet Spider is better than Big Lasher and a 3 on turn 5. You can also, if you played like Galacta on 4, play Gwenpool on 5. You play Gwenpool on 4, you can play Galacta and a 1-drop on 5, and that works just fine. Turn 6 is generally Juggernaut plus buff cards, and then you activate Lasher and Scarlet Spider, and you win. Cool. This is a very strong list, but I think that largely this is very strong because the shell is so strong, because the Galacta, Gwenpool, Hope, Angela shell is very, very strong. I think that Lasher is a good card here. I think that Rocket is a great card here, but I don't think either are necessities for this shell, and I'm not 100% sure that there aren't just other cards that are better for this deck. All that said, this is a very cool way to play the new cards should you be opening for Rocket and Groot, and should you happen to get Lasher from High Voltage in the next day or so. Season Pass question is actually not what you want to see about from Snapchat next year. We're going to do the one from yesterday. What else are you hoping for in the new year for your life? What are your new year goals? Not resolutions. What are you hoping to see? Not from Snap Judgments. It could be from Marvel Snap. It could be from life, whatever you want. What do you want to see next year? Also, please check out a stream at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. I am unsure if I'm going to be able to stream later today, but I'm almost certainly going to be streaming on Friday, so make sure you do check out twitch.tv/PulseGlazer so you don't miss out on that. This is my little streaming screen. Hopefully you like it. All right. Rocket and Groot is a very good card. Is this a meta card? Is this a requirement? No, I don't think so, and I don't think it's going to be. I'm not sure it's the best in slot 3, but it's in competition with several other cards. There's decks that are going to want this. There's decks that are going to want Gladiator. There's decks that are going to want Copycat, etc. I personally still think Copycat is better than this. Copycat not telling your opponent what you stole and then them having it while it's at the bottom of your deck is often a way to steal a lot of cubes. I feel like I lose more cubes to Copycat than any other freaking card in Marvel Snap, outside of maybe Juggernaut. So, is this better than that? No, I don't think so. But you do want two of the high series threes. There's not a lot of good low series threes to play. So you do want two of the high series threes just so you can deck build. Very often decks are going to want like a Red Guardian, a Rocket, or a Gladiator, and a Hope Summers or whatever in order to function. And Rocket fits neatly into that package. If you've got an abundance of keys, he's good enough that I think, yeah, you should grab him. But generally speaking, I think that we're relatively going to be safe skipping him if you have enough other threes. Like if you're running I don't know, if you're running Copycat and Red Guardian over Rocket and another card, I think your decks are largely going to be wholly fine. You'll miss out occasionally on the certain decks that are going to want him more, but I don't think that's a common occurrence or a requirement here. Next up, we have Ika's, Pixie, and Groot. This is a really, really strong list, especially if you're watching this while the hot location is still active, because Mobius absolutely wrecks the hot location. This list is built to take advantage of both that and then take advantage of the Luke Cage anti-venom combo for really, really explosive end game power. You can find Ika streaming at twitch.tv/Ika_MTS. Ika is also famous for building numerous meta decks and is one of the better players in Marvel Snap, even if he's currently having sort of a rough season overall. This deck needs Pixie, Mobius, and Antivenom. Nico and Bob can be Iceman, Spider-Ham, Ant-Man, so on. Pick your ones. Valentina can be Cable or Mirage. You want to generate some cards here as a general goal. Cable and Mirage do the same thing, but Valentina gives you a card that's probably better for your curve. Turn Red Guardian can be Rogue. Again, Red Guardian is way better than Rogue, largely because Doom 2099 is a card, because Galactus sits alone in lanes a lot. But Rogue is excellent against a lot of other things as well, and Rogue can be a larger cube stealer in the long term. RNG, which is Rocket and Groot, can be Gladiator, Copycat, Negasonic. It is generally a generically good card in this list. It is not important. Man-Thing can be Galacta here. I know that's a Series 4, Series 5 replacement. Sorry, but at least you can buy one of them for another few days. Goliath can be Red Hulk or Magneto. You're picking your poison as far as the big sixes. Those 4 sixes are the big ones. Outside of that, the 6 drops go in very specific decks. If you're running Doom 2099, you run Doom. If you're running Destroy, you run Null, etc. But the generically good 6s are Goliath, Red Hulk, Gore, and Magneto. Pick which one you have. All right, so Ika's won 70% of his games with this recently. It's a very strong list. You can turn 1 is Nico Destroy or Demon over Hydra Bob. Turn 2 is Pixie over Valentina. Turn 3, Mobius if Pixie. Luke is better than Rocket and Groot if not. Turn 4, your goal is almost always to Anti-Venom, which is better than Man-Thing. Turn 5, you want Claw. And turn 6, you want Alive. That's it. Really simple. If you got that Anti-Venom card, you can also play that. Sometimes you're going to end up playing the Anti-Venom card and Luke on turn 5, fair warning. Or you can play Luke and another card on turn 5, and then you can play Goliath and the Anti-Venom card on turn 6. You get the idea. Sometimes you need to play the card for priority reasons in order to Goliath. Cool. Super simple list, very powerful, very effective, really strong mid-range with a lot of high roll potential thanks to Pixie. This list is suddenly like, again, you don't need Rocket Root. Like, it looks really expensive, but it's not nearly as expensive as it looks, as a lot of the cards are completely replaceable here. If you'd like to see gameplay from all these decks and players, check out the stream team, where you can find tonight the King of Canada at about noon Eastern playing these decks. Please do go check him out. All right. This bundle is must buy. This is 258%. I'm going to run you through the numbers about what that means. So 172% or so is about average. That's a good buy. That's traditionally what we would say, okay, you can buy that. You're not going to lose too much from it. Cool. About 200% is a good buy. They're regular 200% bundles. They're good buys. You're perfectly happy buying them. They're above average. You're satisfied spending money. 220% is a great buy, near must buy. They show up once a month or so and are stellar. We've never had a bundle that's not like one of the $3 or $5 special anniversary bundles that breaks like the 230% mark, and this is 258.4%. This is insanely good value, and I cannot urge you enough to buy Explosive Snow Day. It is the best value. Okay, the $3 bundle, the web shop exclusive bundle, is better value than this. That's like 500%, right? And if you're missing a Series 4 or 5 card and you can buy that, that's going to end up being better value. But in terms of just like spend money, get credit gold, this is the best deal you're about to get. You should probably do this. Cool? All right. Negative NX4K. This is KX4N's negative list that he managed to hit top 11 with. I'm impressed. That negative has done so well. It is running Shadow King largely because move bounce is a nightmare. Otherwise, it can go over the top of you in ways that nothing else can stop. But outside of that, it's just a strong and consistent list that is one of the better lists in Marvel Snap when an experienced and patient player runs with it. You can find KX4N at twitch.tv/KX4N. This deck does need its high series cards. You need Ravonna, Sage, and Gore. You cannot replace any of them. Sorry. There are other negative versions that run Null that we've covered recently, but this is not one of those. So KX again, climb to rank 11 here. Turn 1 you pass. Turn 2 is Psylocke or Ravonna. Turn 3, if you can play negative, please do so. If not, Magic over Wong are the general goals. Turn 4 is the same logic as 3. Turn 5, Jane, if possible, is better than Wong or Sage. Is better than Gore. Sometimes you're going to Magic on 5 as well in order to Jane on 6. Turn 6, you want to go off if you played negative. Just play everything. However, you can win otherwise. If you played a Gore on 5, thanks to Ravonna, you can now copy that with Taskmaster. If you went Wong and Sage on 5, or if you went Wong on 4, Sage on 5, you can now copy that with Taskmaster. You can also, if you have Ravonna out, just go Iron Man and Mystique on several lanes and manage to try and win that way. There's a lot of power here. There's a lot of ways to win. This is a very cool negative list that, again, I urge you to give a chance to check out. I think you'll be impressed, especially once more if you're playing before the end of that hot location. Questions of the day. Our first is from Unibot, who asks, what are my thoughts on Gambit needing a card in hand, and should Moon Knight work the same way? Let's start with, should Gambit need a card in hand? Yeah, I think so. When Gambit didn't need a card in hand, it was kind of OP. A lot. I don't know if you remember that, but there was a time when Gambit didn't need cards in hand, and look, Gambit's really strong. And they've released a lot of support for Gambit being really strong, cards like Proxima and so on, and thus I think it's very, very important that Gambit doesn't need a card in hand. Should Moon Knight work the same way? No, I don't think so. You have to build your whole deck around Moon Knight, right? Like, you have to build your deck around trying to, like, machine gun Gambit. You have to have cards like Swarm or Proxima or Apocalypse, or you can't do that. Moon Knight, you have to build your entire deck around if you want to get it to work. So I also think Moon Knight is significantly less likely to be impactful in the game. Moon Knight is frustrating and powerful, right? But Gambit can machine gun down your whole board or machine gun down 2 or 3 key cards and win games, whereas Moon Knight can occasionally get an important card, and there's only really one card in the game that you in hand want to Moon Knight, Proxima. You'll Moon Knight Swarm, right? But like, it's not the goal. So with all that said, I do think that these cards work the way they really need to at the moment. I think that Gambit is kind of broken if it doesn't need a card, and I think Moon Knight is kind of useless if it does need a card. Zandal asks what makes a card meta. So I think this is interesting, right? Because Frigga is in the best deck, but no one would call Frigga meta. But Galacta is in like a lot of great decks, and everyone would call that meta. So I think what we think of when we think of meta is either the card that makes one of the best decks work. So like, you can argue that Madam Web is meta, right? Because it makes the deck work. But you wouldn't probably argue most of the other move pieces were meta, even if they're in a meta deck. You would argue that Hela is meta, right? But you wouldn't say Magneto is meta because it's in a Hela deck. It might be because it's in other decks also, but not because it's that. So the card that makes a theme deck work is generally speaking meta. Dracula is meta. MODOK is meta. Etc. And then outside of that, the good stuff cards, the best of the mid-range cards are meta. So we're talking Galacta, we're talking Kitty. We're about to start, I think, having to consider Hope there. Then there's like borderline decks that are great, but people don't really talk about and consider as great as much. So how about we talk about Surfer then, right? Like is Surfer meta? I think Surfer exists on the borderline of meta, whereas Galacta, which is the card that sort of makes all these engines go, is definitely meta. So that's where I land on what makes a thing better now. And then we have our Series 3 reminder. If you are a Series 3 player, I am literally streaming as I'm recording this, and we're about to do this on stream. If you are a Series 3 player, if you would like to join our Discord, there's a section where you can post your collection, and I will build you some decks and make you some suggestions about what you can do going forward in Marvel Snap. Cool? So if that sounds good to you, please join our Discord. It's linked in the description to the video. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. I'm going to say thank you to Abigail Giesland, Mandatory Burnout, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Danton, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., I Am Frostman, Jet Navali, YOLO Potato, that's one of the players that is in Series 3 that we helped out, Thinking Poker, Primed Ryan, who just went crazy gifting on stream. Thank you so much, Ryan. Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, a truck just passed my house. Caretixley, Koirei, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyrofros, The Goat Seeker, Hallowed, Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decisions Joe, Partner, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, Exorcy and Skippy G, Rhyming Friends, Jessica Gamble, we're almost there, Jess. Tommy Nyquist, who won Snap Judgments League Season 1. The King of Bros, Bro, the Great Kazoo, Werewolf, thanks for hanging out tonight. Kev C. Hoda, Lunar Chris, Corwin, John Q, and Jimmy McQ, Q Town. Also, hi Luna. Clam, Colonel Forbin, Yestout, 8th Sage, Mod Supreme Models, Green Goblin, Unibot, who we just got a question from. Hi, Uni. Flan 56, hey Flanman. Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B. J.D. McDonaldinho, The Fuzzy Dunlop. Oh, JT's gone. We have a new person there. Shit, this is an older one. The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrumix, Hoot, Matt H. DJ, Mikey, Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, Craig Sterry, BG, Zodrex, the King of Canada. Please check him out on YouTube and Twitch. Den, Man, Falcon, Jonesy, Two Ties, the Great Larmadez, the Pirate King Tuccrr, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for, hey y'all, Happy New Year. Make sure you check out tomorrow for top player thoughts, and if you'd like to see some other great videos, they are to your left and right. Peace.